And I like Ashiok mechanically. I kind of wished we didn't get Ashiok here. I kind of wish we got Garrick. Right? Like I wish Ashiok, out of all the potential planeswalkers we could have got, would have, I mean, Garrick is the one that comes to mind the most. Yeah. Not to shit on Ashiok. And Ashiok has a ton of fans, right? But I don't know. Garrick's cool. Don't you think, didn't Garrick like act as almost like a mentor for the twins, Basil? You don't think that would have made, I mean, that seems more interesting to me, is like Garrick that is just like, hey, I helped you two out before, and now look at you, you're squabbling over how you're going to run the realm, you idiots. So stupid, you should work together, you know, that kind of thing. I thought that's what Garrick did. Oh well, either way. Let's talk about cards. There's a whole song from, yeah, that's one card. We're going to be going through Wooburg. We're only going to be talking about the cards that are in the main set. No commander cards today. I'm going to be talking about them through the lens of Gladiator and Canadian Highlander. And yeah, I only have so much time because I am starting a lot later than normally. About 6 to 7 hours later than I wanted to. And this will be my third piece of content today. So I don't know how long I can go without starting to burn out, you know? And I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that because these are some cool cards. Starting off, also just heads up, the full preview, the whole gallery is up. The card image gallery is completed, bonus sheet included. And yeah, if you want to look at that, you can look at that. We've already talked about a lot of these cards, but not the ones we're talking about today. But we talked about, you know, a bunch of the other stuff. The previous preview streams, the VOD should still be up on Twitch, and I have uploaded the first episode as we speak. It's still processing and all that, but here we are. A Tale for the Ages. 1 and a white for an enchantment. Enchanted creatures you control get +2/+2. This card stinks, is my hot take. And here's why. Because this card gets compared, I saw people comparing this card to Tempered Steel, which I guess makes sense because both give +2/+2, but this is a card where, why do my enchanted creatures need to be bigger? Right? Like, my creatures that are already being modified are now bigger. Like, that's what the modifications already do. So this is a card that doesn't do anything by itself. This is a card that doesn't affect just like things that your deck plays. This is a card that requires you to have creatures that are then enchanted, and then you need an additional bump or whatever. Yeah, card not great. Not great. Poo-poo card. It's really appealing because people see 2 mana +2/+2 and all that, but no. Fluffosaurus, welcome back for the 16th month. Glad to have you. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Blind Obedience. 1 and a white. This is enchantment with Extort. If you don't know what Extort is, when you cast a spell, you can pay Hybrid Orzhov. And if you do, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1 life. This card is shockingly good. I haven't actually read the I haven't even read the text. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control ETB tapped. This card is shockingly good. For a format that is very creature based, like Gladiator. You know, being able to brick the dragons, questing beast, any of the green-red cards, being able to brick the humans cards too, like the Boros style cards, is nice. There is some splash damage that this just hits the artifact combo cards as well, which is great because we've seen people with Enchantress decks playing Authority of the Consuls, which Authority of the Consuls is 1 mana. That's nice. Diz does make things come into play tap, but only creatures, and you gain life whatever the creature ETB is under your opponent's control. That has some kind of insurance against like card infinite combos or like Blood Artist looping or whatever, but not like it doesn't kill your opponent. It just says like, haha, you can't kill me and I get a little bit of a buffer. But then it's just like dead against a variety of other decks. Blind Obedience, you know, a little bit more expensive, but this can actually start to kill opponents, which is good. Gives Enchantress another way to actually close games, and can muck. There's like the splash damage from mucking artifacts, not even just the the artifact combo as well. Like this can just muck sequencing with like control deck trying to develop like a Mind Stone or a Celestus or whatever. So yeah, it's not bad. Obviously narrow in where you play it, but this card's a heater. Cheeky House Mouse. I love this card. 1 white for 2/1 mouse. Stop. Vanilla creature. But it has an adventure attached to it. Squeak By. For a single white sorcery, target creature you control gets +1/+1 till end of turn, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater this turn. Yeah, cool card. This lets you, I mean, the floor is it's a 1 mana 2/1, which I feel like the Gladiator D&T deck already just plays a whole bunch of 1 mana 2/1s, even if their abilities aren't super relevant. But this one comes attached with a, well, cheeky little adventure that can help you push damage or pressure planeswalkers, or you know, both. It's just a cheap adventure card, right? Like Fairy Guide Mother has saw a lot of play in D&T decks, White Weenie decks, and while we don't see the Guide Mother as much anymore, and this isn't like flying, you know, it can still get chump blocked by elves or whatever. This card, you know, it's just cheaper. The body's a bit bigger. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. Good 1-drop to tutor up too. Cooped Up. 1 and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and you can pay 2 and a white to exile enchanted creature. Why am I just talking about a power creep pacifism? Because we talked about this a little bit, in that I think there is a version of an Enchantress control deck that plays a shitload of pacifisms. It has some weaknesses, as we've seen with like the Incarnation deck, where when all your removal is at sorcery speed, you can get a little bit mucked by creatures with haste or immediate ETBs. But just having redundancy on a 2-mana effect like this, if that is your game plan, is pretty nice. And then the exile just means that if you have extra mana lying around, or you put it on a utility creature like a Scavenging Ooze, right? You don't want to die to the Skoos, but also you don't want it to sit around just eating the graveyard for the rest of the game. You got some flexibility in that. It's just a nice little add-on to a deck that I think has been, you know, kind of bubbling under the surface, that wants any new tools it can get. Oh, we gotta skip. Food Coma. This is an extremely cute card and a very powerful name. 3 and a white for an enchantment. When Food Coma enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls until Food Coma leaves the battlefield, and you make a food token. Didn't we got something kind of similar to this? Only exiling a creature is a bit of a pisser. 4 mana, obviously, whatever. Making a token, whatever. I don't think this card is going to be playable in Gladiator, but it's always nice to mention anytime you get a new version of this card. Also, Bumble Sheep. Like, some of the cutest art that we have seen in the game. Like, it's so cute. The Spanish translation of the card is the best. What's the Spanish name for this card? Food Coma. Oh, they haven't printed the non-English ones. Cute. Yeah, static net is a bit flexible. It's turned into a meme. What is it? Does anybody have a link? Anybody got the intel on Spanish food coma? Food coma. Milona, yeah, Mimir. What does that mean? I'm going to put this through the Google Translate. It tried to autocomplete meme. A mimir has been a popular way to refer to characters being tucked into beds or sleeping in Spanish-speaking communities. Okay. Great. Pay for yourself. Cute. Super cute. Heart Flame Duelist. Attention, duelists. 1 and a white for a 3/1 human knight. With instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. And then there's an adventure of Heart Flame Slash. 2 and a red, instant, deals 3 damage to any target. So that's obviously a bit pricey on that adventure. This is kind of but that's a powerful effect, right? 3 damage kills a lot of stuff, and also that includes your opponent. This is the kind of card where it very clearly is designed for 4 copies of this card to pop up, because it's so cheap. Like the creature side is much cheaper than the adventure side, and so you're kind of incentivized to like play if you have multiples of these, and you're like, well, they're going to get stuck in my hand, and so you play the first one, and then you pop the fuck. Everybody's just making "you're going down" references in chat, and now I can't not see it. Like you play the first one, and then you Heart Flame, you adventure the second copy in your hand. Jesus Christ, you have Marvel. You have so many Marvel emotes. Here. Foot. Marvel's your main game? Oh, I have been a Marvel enjoyer for ages. Like it is, I did buy the game, but I didn't really play it that much, but I watched it a lot. Yeah, it's like it's a spectator game for me. Even though, you know, we had like the Evo finals of Zero May Cry, it was still just like, oh yeah, big screen, baby, big screen. Yeah, great spectator game. If people aren't familiar with Ultra Marvel vs. Capcom 3, what if Yu-Gi-Oh was a fighting game? That's what and not like in the anime sense. In the like Yu-Gi-Oh, like actual Yu-Gi-Oh card game, like the same vibes and energy as a fighting game. It's wild. It's wild. Yeah, I think this card will show up. I'm curious about this card popping outside of aggressive decks, because like obviously, I mean like a Mardu or a Boros deck can take advantage of the lifelink, but they don't care as much unless they're racing. But like a Jeskai mid-range deck, I mean, we have Geist of St. Traft. I had played the shit out of this card in a deck with Geist of St. Traft, and we're going to get Mantis Rider. Ooh, 2015 Wheeler coming back at you. We can only hope. We can only hope. 3/1's not a great stat line, but you know. Foot. Hopeful Vigil. 1 and a white for an enchantment. When Hopeful Vigil enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 white knight token with vigilance. We're like, oh, fuck no, we can't do this. We can't do this. We can't do this. Baked. When this ETBs, you make a 2/2 white knight with vigilance. And when hopeful vigil is put into the graveyard for play, you scry 2. Then you can pay 2 and a white to sack hopeful vigil. Baked. Full stop. I've watched that video, the Lythero video, so many times. It's just so yeah, it's so fucking good. Just, oh my god. Oh, I feel like I could watch that video on repeat over and over again, Heath, and it just fucking Hulk getting absolutely shreked by Rocket, and just hearing like, who taught you how to fucking play like that? Who taught you how to play like that? Yeah, unfortunately, I have rabies. DDT, welcome back for the 51st month. How you doing? How you been? Big fan of our big ox friend, the Creature Land. The Bivouac? Hell yeah, same also. I passed on a note to Chris. I said, I was like, hey, just a heads up. Creature Lands, phenomenal. Creature Lands that just turn into large, like, spirit animals, yeah, 10 out of 10. And if they're ox, if they're a horned mammal, keep them coming. Keep them coming. Thank you so much for all the support. So yeah, this is like a plant for bargain, right? And for celebration. This does a lot. It creates a token and an enchantment. The token, or sorry, the enchantment does a thing when it goes to the graveyard. It creates 2 permanents on 1 card. It's a pretty neat card as a limited plant. I might give it a shot in Incarnation because it's an enchantment that comes with a body that leaves something behind that I can then sack to Enigmatic Incarnation, and I get to scry. So it does a little something. It might seem pretty like, why would you play this? Because the power level of the card. I mean, it's a very pushed common, but you know, you need this kind of card in a build around, and that's what it's designed for, right? It's not designed for like, I'm playing this as a 2-drop, you know. Karmic Justice demands retribution. 2 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever a spell or ability an opponent controls destroys a non-creature permanent you control, you may destroy target permanent that opponent controls. This one is probably not showing up. This is the kind of card I used to run in Highlander Enchantress before we had good cards. And I think that vibe carries over because now we have good cards. And so you could just play this in Gladiator. Like you could just play better things in Gladiator Enchantress. That said, obviously a banger of a commander card, and the Green Knight artwork is pretty spectacular. This is like, I think I still prefer this artwork. I prefer the lighting on the normal Enchanted Tales cards than the like anime versions. But yeah, this one's hot. You got jump scared by Questing Beast? I mean, there's just so many words on it. Who's got time for that? I mean, I do. I could tell you every single word on that card. Bet. Big bet. Lady of Laughter. 3 white for a 4/5 fairy noble with flying. And it has celebration. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card. I'm going to give this a shot in the Gladiator version of Ruin Your Evening. It is a 4-mana card with no real ETB unless you get some other ETB, because then I can just draw a card on your end step. But like, I'm thinking of the kind of decks with like Bygone Bishop, and we're generating tokens off of our commander, or not commander, our planeswalkers, that kind of thing. It's expensive, but it's annoying, and it hits like a truck, right? Like it doesn't die to the 4 mana, 4 damage removal spells. Doesn't die to Glorybringer. Like this has a lot of good going for it. Even though it is a little slow and clunky, that's just kind of the name of that deck. And so I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not going to just outright dismiss it in that spot. Also, just like drawing 2 cards every turn in mono white is pretty hot, right? Mulder, quit going for my drink. I have a distraction glass on my desk for you. Oh, can't talk about this card. Oh, can't talk about this card. Finally, we're talking about the rabbits. Pollen Shield Hair. 1 and a white for a 2/2 rabbit. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1. And then it has an adventure, Hair Raising. For a single green sorcery, target creature you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. If we're playing a tokens deck, I don't hate this kind of card. With this effect used to be 4 mana, right? Like Phantom General, like it's wild. That card is old by now, but it's very funny to think about, and it was an uncommon, but it's very funny to think about just like a creature buffing tokens going from a 4 mana card, and like the same body, I think. Like maybe Phantom General has, it's a 2/3. Yeah, sure, it's a 2/3. No flying though. Like it's just so funny that we went from a 4 mana 2/3 to a 2 mana 2/2 that also just has an actual whole other spell attached to it. That's pretty hot. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a shot in tokens. I think you need to be like a dedicated tokens deck to take advantage of this, even if that other ability, I mean, maybe there's a world where like if you're green-white that does make tokens, but you're not a dedicated tokens deck, maybe there's a world that you play this just because it is, you know, that pump spell is not the worst thing in the world. And it's, you know, 2 cards, both of them cheap, both of them reasonable. Oh, that's a big eye boogie. Yeah, there you go. Big eye boogie. Speaking of rabbit, Regal Bunnicorn, another bunny. 1 and a white for a rabbit unicorn. Regal Bunnicorn has power and toughness equal to the number of non-land permanents you control. So this includes all of your creatures, but it also includes tokens, enchantments, planeswalkers, equipment. This shit adds up. Another card that is just kind of, I mean, I guess we had this effect at, kind of this effect at 3 mana for a while. Yeah, this shit just adds up so quickly. It is just a vanilla creature. But I don't know, this gets kind of big. Like, white doesn't really care about big creatures that are just vanilla, right? Like white has gone by on cheap, smaller creatures with utility for years, and we don't need big body. Doesn't have to be big body. Not counting tokens is definitely a bonus, but this is just kind of a lump of stats. You know, it's a great rabbit though. Half donkey, half hummingbird, half unicorn. Yeah, it's like Goyf, except Goyf just needs you. This card needs you to play a very specific type of magic and to continue playing that kind of magic. Goyf just says like, have you played Magic the Gathering this game? And do you intend on continuing to play Magic the Gathering? And your answer is usually, yeah, until you kill my opponent for me. That kind of thing. Yeah, it's eating dandelion. It's eating some dandelion. Solitary Sanctuary. Good name. 2 and away for an enchantment. When Solitary Sanctuary enters the battlefield, you tap target creature and opponent controls, and you put a stun counter on it. And then it says, whenever you tap an untapped creature and opponent controls, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. This card's not going to see any Gladiator play. It's going to see Commander play in the Commander deck that I'm going to build with it. But this, I just really like this archetype. It's going to be very interesting to see how it unfolds, because blue-white having this archetype of what if we're built around tapping down all of your creatures is kind of, it's one of these things where it's like, oh, cool. So your whole theme is that I don't get to block or attack? Huh. Which is usually just like a temporary effect that gives you kind of a push for tempo or just kills them or protects your stuff, whatever. And when it isn't a temporary effect, when it goes really hard into this kind of ability, then it ends up being a card that just like defines limited matches. Now, granted, we've come a long way from when Sleep was just like pack one, pick one, because Sleep just ended limited games. But it'll be interesting to see how these shake up. Can't talk about that one. Can't talk about that one. All right, on to blue, but we can't talk about that one. Compulsion. I can't wait until, I hope it gets left in the pack opening segment, because this card was opened not by me. I was running the camera, but this card was opened in a pack opening, and I made an audible like, oh, kind of card. I fucking love Compulsion. I love Compulsion. I grew up on Compulsion. This card is just so, it's everything I want. Card selection, cards in the graveyard, you can cash itself in for a card when you really need it to be there. It's just, yeah, playing this card with Psychotog, playing this card with Arrogant Worm and Rootwalla. I mean, I grew up on this card, and it's so cool. It is so cool. I even said, I was talking to Chris Mooney about this, and I was like, you know, I think they did a real good job with this set, this bonus sheet, in printing cards that boomer players are going to look at this and like they'll get up and they'll start clapping, you know, like they're just going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe Compulsion's in here. And it'll hopefully teach a new generation of players like a thing or two about these cards, you know. They definitely, some of them haven't aged as well. There's another uncommon in here that is wild. I am so stoked to like try and build, like try and draft around an uncommon in here. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Compulsion, love to see it. Can't talk about this. Wait, can I? Oh, that's Commander. Elusive Otter. 1 blue for a 1/1 otter with prowess. And creatures with power less than Elusive Otter can't block it. And then there's an adventure attached to it called Grove's Bounty. X and a green. Distribute X 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. Another case of cheap creature, cheap adventure. Creature that scales well, adventure that scales well. Yeah, I am so sick about playing, like it's so sick to get a card like this, because I am going to give this a shot in honestly, blue-green tempo. I don't even think this card is good enough for blue-green tempo. The strength of Monastery Swiftspear is that card is always played alongside Lightning Bolt, and Just having a 1/1 like prowess is not actually that exciting. 1/1 is also just like not the best body, obviously. The evasion definitely gives it some added bonus. I'm going to try this in Blitz. Like I'll try this in the Rug Blitz list, where I just want to target this creature with a bunch of pump spells, and then they just can't block it. Then I'm going to kill them. Simple as, mate. The reason why we're not talking about any commander cards is because Wormy donated $100 to skip every commander card, which is the coolest shit I've ever seen. We've joked about someone doing that, but it's never actually happened. Fairy Slumber Party. 6 mana sorcery. Return all creatures to their owner's hands. For each opponent who controls a creature returned this way, you create 2 1/1 blue fairy creature tokens with flying, and this creature can block only creatures with flying. This is going to be a no-go for me in the big blue. I was thinking about it, but like, why can't I type? It's not evacuation. It's an evacuation style card. It's not Flood of Tears, right? It's only creatures. And the fairies not being able to block is a real deal pisser. If they could block, different story, but that's also a different card. So I think this is just too expensive. Doesn't return enough things, which is fine. That's okay. You can print cards like this that don't return everything. But the not blocking part of it is just a bit of a pisser. Force Fruition. 4 blue for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player draw. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player draws 7 cards. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be very funny if this combo showed up. And they're both legal in Gladiator. Bowmasters plus Force Fruition, pretty hot. Huh? Oh, yelling at the TV. Yeah, it's a weird bad Kurtar's Wrath. Wow, Wolf Aether. How's your lower back doing? But I agree with you. Yeah. Proof that the Bunicorn is eating arugula. I don't know if this is proof. This could also just be creative liberties. You want me to ask the artist? Ilsa Gort. All right, let's ask the artist. Hi there. How should I word this? I'm a... Hi there. I'm a fan of your artwork. Your MTG artwork. I'm a fan of your MTG artwork. And especially your newest piece for Wilds of Eldraine, Regal Bunicorn. During a stream of mine, we began discussing whether the Bunicorn was eating arugula or dandelion leaves, and could not come to a conclusive answer. So I hate to be a bother, but would you be able to comment on this? Huge thanks. Okay, I sent them a message. It's that easy, chat. This is, look, if I'm going to use any amount of clout, I hate the word, but if I'm going to use any amount of clout, it's going to be settling discussions like this. We did this with Wall of Mulch too. I was wondering why the Wall of Mulch art for Onslaught, what happened between Onslaught and bringing Wall of Mulch to 2015. And we got down to the bottom of that. Asking the important questions. Force Fruition, 6-mana card that doesn't do anything. Great, moving on. Hatching Plans. This is the one that I wanted to talk about, or the one that I'm most excited about. 1 and a blue for an enchantment. When Hatching Plans is put to the graveyard from play, draw 3 cards. Another super cool addition for the bonus sheet. Super cool addition for the bonus sheet here. Oh no, somebody else DM'd me. Great. Super cool addition for the bonus sheet. It works very well with Bargain, which is why it's here. Back in the day, you would combo this with Perilous Research. Draw 2 cards and then sacrifice a room. But here we are, comboing this with Bargain cards. Or comboing this with Enigmatic Incarnation. Anytime we get an enchantment that now does something on ETB and leaves the enchantment around, you know, like Ranger Class and Friends, I'm going to be looking at that card with Enigmatic Incarnation in mind. We here on the channel primarily played the Abzan version that splashed blue, but with some of these new enchantments, I'm going to be looking to play just like a straightforward Bant version that's more of a toolbox, more of a creature toolbox, and Hatching Plans is going to be put into there. Excited to try this card in Vintage too. This is the kind of card that if you get a bunch of cheap bargain cards, comboing them with like 2 copies of Hatching Plans, and whew, you're off to the races. Horned Lock Whale. 4 blue for a 6/6 whale with flash, ward 2, and Hornlock Whale enters the battlefield tapped unless it's your turn. And then has Lagoon Breach. Really good name for the adventure here. The owner of target attacking creature you don't control puts it on top or bottom of their owner's library. So this is a very powerful adventure. This is just kind of a powerful effect that never really justifies a slot in your deck, you know? It's one where you really want to play something like it, but you need something else. And even cards like Warrant Warden, which tilt your head there, it's going to be able to do it, never really made the grade. Even in early Gladiator, it wasn't that great. But being able to do this early on to save yourself some grief, and then you just have this 6-drop with Ward 2 and Flash that can't be hand attacked is huge. It's just sitting there in your hand, or sorry, it's sitting off on an adventure, waiting until you need to just cash it, and all of a sudden, bam, you got a 6/6. I'm gonna give this a shot in maybe not blue-white. Maybe not in blue-white, but I'll give it a shot in. I could see myself playing this in blue-black. Root Potato, thank you for the $5 donation. Counter Wormy's bid, but only if the card is good in Dredge. I have some bad news for you. I don't think any of the cards are good in Dredge. I made an update to Dredge recently, and my update just cut Poxwalkers. Like, my update to Dredge, it wasn't anything spectacular, but I literally just cut Poxwalker. There weren't enough cards that it flashed back off of. It was just Hogak. Yeah, I cut it. I didn't like it in playing it and goldfishing it. Oh, I cut it for Bowmasters. That's what I did. Yeah. It comes into play. Oh, wait, why would I do that? There was a card or two. Yeah, Moria something. I'll try Moria. Yeah, the 3 mana 1/4 that amasses. I would give that card another shot. No, Moria Marauder isn't Moria Marauder the Gobbo? It's Scavenger. I mean this, yeah, Moria Marauder is the Gobbo. This is the Scavenger. Yeah. Make room for all the eggs and dredge. Whoa. Yeah, Moria Scavenger. This one, I mean, you pitch the Grave Troll, immediately dredge it, and then you get a 1/1 that can also just cast a Hogak. Yeah, or just, you know, flashback to upper turn. Commander card. Commander card. Mocking Sprite. 2 to blue for a 2/1 fairy rogue. Flying instant sorcery spells you cost 1 less to cast. Nope. Baral and Electromancer are, well, we don't have Electromancer yet, right? Do we? No, we have Electromancer. We have Electromancer. We have Electromancer. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Baral and Electromancer do this effect better for cheaper, with better bodies. You don't really need this to be, like, you don't need an evasive body on this kind of effect, because these card effects only see play in degenerate kind of combo decks. That's it. Unfortunate. I mean, this might end up seeing some play in, you know, Commander that wants a bunch of cost reducers or whatever, but we're not here to talk about that. Anywho, we can move on. I did want to point out that the artist for this is Benny Hill, or at least it's Ben Hill. Carry on. Picklock Prankster. 1 and a blue for a fairy rogue with flying and vigilance, and it's a 1/3. And then it has an adventure, Free the Fae. 1 and a blue, instant. You mill 4 cards, and then put an instant sorcery or fairy card from among the milled cards into your hand. So this card ticks off a lot of boxes that are great. It's cheap. It blocks Ragavan. It's got flying and vigilance, so you're able to trade with, you know, Vendilion Clique. You're able to pressure stuff and still have it on the block. And it can just put you up a card, which is kind of nice. I don't think all of these together are good enough, but it has a lot of good going for it on a cheap blue card, and the adventure is a cheap blue card that replaces itself. When you whiff, it's bad, but don't whiff 5-head. Yeah, strictly better Hoverbeer. Also, if a fairies deck pops up, it won't. But if it does, this is, you know, not the worst card to include at the end, even though it's a little bit anemic in terms of damage output. But quick study. 2 and a blue instant, draw 2 cards. It's just divination. They made instant speed divination, or they made inspiration cheaper. That's it. Cool card. Cool card. I really like the art on this card. That's it. I only wanted to make that joke. Commander card. Oh, this fucking card. Sleep Cursed Fairy. 1 blue for a 3/3 fairy wizard with flying and ward 2. Sleep Cursed Fairy enters the battlefield tapped with 3 stun counters on it. If it would become untapped, remove a stun counter from it instead. And then you can pay 1 and a blue and untap Sleep Cursed Fairy. This card is really unfortunate, because Ward 2 is annoying, right? Ward 1 is like annoying, but Ward 2 is like, oh fuck, I cannot kill this card, right? The 1 mana investment on this card, super cheap. 3/3 flyer, Ward 2, great. Not using your mana for other stuff, just pay 2 and remove a stun counter from it. This is a 1-drop with a pretty big downside, but it protects itself and it has some relevant creature types. Good players have talked about this card positively. There are good Magic the Gathering players on Twitter.com that talk about this card as though it is playable and in fact reasonable. I believe that this card may in fact be reasonable, dare I say good, in 60 card formats where you play 4 copies of this and you have a high chance of getting it out on turn 1. When you have a higher chance of getting this out on turn 1 and you are likely playing other tools to discard redundant copies of this card, or you develop one, you develop another, and then that's it, I can buy that analysis. For 100 card singleton, I'm not sold. Not sold. Too slow. Imagine drawing this card. I mean, if you draw this card in like turn 6, it's tempting to be like, oh, and then I could play it, and then I immediately remove 2 stun counters. It's like, okay, why do that when you could just play a good card instead, like a big card for that mana? I don't know why. It's 2023. Don't jump through hoops for your cards. You don't have to anymore. They fucking just give you everything on a silver platter. Why work harder for your cards? Play a top tier instead. Snare Master Sprite. 1 mana, 1/1. It's a fairy wizard with flying. And when Snare Master Sprite enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. When you do, tap target creature to opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. So this is just a 1 mana 1/1 flyer. That floor is pretty good. It happens to be a fairy and a wizard. That gives some extra juice to it. And that ability is not that bad if you're playing like Flying Men. And Flying Men does get up to 3 mana. Like, I could see playing this card in Flying Men. I could see building a fairies package for Flying Men and playing this card, which is wild to say. Because in that deck, I don't think I play this card. But I would play this card because it can start attacking. It gets the pressure on. Who gives a shit? Ward 2 on this kind of card is just like, whatever. My mana investment was already 1 mana, right? Investing 1 mana into this card and then your opponent killing it with anything more than 1, then they're down mana. It's a good trade in your favor. And the fact that if you do draw this beyond turn 1 and turn 2 and you need to push through damage with, I don't know, like an Ophidian, or just like want to get rid of a planeswalker, want to muck a creature for 1 turn, you can do that. Not to mention, this isn't on cast, it's on ETB. So you can Aether Vial this into play and pay 2 and get something. So I think this card will actually show up in Flying Men in Highlander. Deck doesn't really have legs in Gladiator. There's some kind of blue evasion, like tempo-y decks, but not to the same extent. Mulder, do you have to go outside? What do you do? You just want to get picked up? What's the gender inclusive? You're trolling me. In 2023, they're going to call it Flying They Them. My wife left me. I mean, true. The thing about calling the deck Flying Men is that if you like verbally, when you verbalize it, you don't go flying_men.deck every time. But that's like integral to the lore of the deck. Flying Ben says trans rights. I mean, Terravander is literally like one of the best 1-drops in the deck. Zach the Cat King, welcome back to the 38th month. How you doing? How you been? That's a long ass time. 3 years of Wheeler's influence on building the funnest / dumbest decks. Cheers. Glad I can help. Flying They Them is the dimmer. Really like the idea of like the bit of some like like a Magic version of like the right wing like commentator that is just like, oh, there's a gender is taking over or whatever kind of shit. But they're just like, back in my day, back in my day, you paid 4 mana for a 4/4 and you liked it, and everything had a downside. Nowadays, every card comes with an ETB and pronouns. The problem with that bit, though, is that those people just fucking exist. Like, it's not even a parody. These are just actual sweaty people at LGSs all across the American Midwest. Yes, pronouns are taking over Magic. Why did my wife leave me? Not just the Midwest. Yeah, but I like to pick on the Midwest. Spell Stutter. 1 in a blue, it's an instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2, plus an additional 1 for each fairy you control. That's funny, interesting. You said you had it up to here with pronouns, and yet when you said that your wife that she had handed you divorce papers, you this is a cool nod to, obviously, Spell Stutter Sprite, the only good fairy to ever be printed. That's not true, but it's the only good fairy that gives anime. It's the only good fairy to ever be printed that gives a shit about other fairies. Although Mistbind Clique is actually kind of hot. I'll allow that. I'll allow that in there. Cool name. Card's reasonable. I mean, if you're looking for just playing, like, if there ends up being like a deck with flyers and some counter magic, this could maybe show up. But like, we don't have Spell Stutter Sprite. We don't have Spell Stutter Sprite. I talked about this with Chris too, where like, I was like, hey, how difficult is it juggling, like, how difficult is it to print in a standard legal set fairies as a defining type and theme, when fairies are all, like, when the most iconic fairies cards are terrible gameplay experiences, and just like their overall themes are being disruptive and mischievous, like, because we're not getting, oh, Fairy Mastermind. I mean, Fairy Mastermind doesn't care about fairies, but like, the only fairy that cares about you actually having other fairies that is good is Spell Stutter Sprite, and we're never getting another Spell Stutter Sprite. There are decks that are literally called like blue-red fairies, and all it means is that their deck plays 4 Spell Stutter Sprites. Sign of Una. Shroud, baby, Shroud. Storyteller Pixie, 3 in a blue for a 3/3 flyer. When he casts an adventure spell, draw a card. This is like the Edgewall Innkeeper. Although this cares about you casting the adventure and not the creature with adventure. And it is 4 mana. Can you believe Edgewall Innkeeper was 1 mana? Like, this card, this card got away, somehow dodged so much shit. Like, Eldraine is stacked, right? We know Eldraine is stacked to the brim. But there are so many cards in Eldraine that are just, like, egregious. Right? It's a 1 mana 1/1 that draws you extra cards every time you play every like, this is a card that says whenever you cast a creature that isn't named Edgewall Innkeeper that is in your deck, you draw a card. Also, it's not once per turn. Also, this stacks. Like, yeah, this Clover is also brutal, but like, both of these cards, wow. Just fucked. Just cracked. Commander, why are you in here? Twining Twins, Basil. 2 and 2 blue for a fairy wizard with flying, vigilance, and ward 1. And then there's an adventure, Swift Spiral. 1 and a white for an instant. Exile target non-token creature. Return to the battlefield under the owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. I mean, so this card is very pushed, but also just like why are we playing these? You know, why are we playing these? Where are we playing these? You know? Where are we playing these? Why are we playing these? I want top tier answers only. Like, is this showing up in a blink deck? So this is my thought, is that if this card shows up, it's going to be in a deck that can actually tutor up other creatures, or like having a tutorable instant speed blink effect is powerful, right? But it's a card where you need to have sufficient ETBs and then also just be okay to, like, it's flexible in that you can blink your opponent's stuff too. Like, maybe that's just raw numbers. People are going to be playing this, you know. Obsessive Collector? What is Obsessive Collector? Oh, but these are two completely different cards. Obsessive Collector is a 4-mana 4/4 that draws cards when it hits. This is a card that can attack and block and has a whole ass spell attached to it. Like, maybe if you're a deck that has like what the fuck? Maybe if you're a deck with like Reflector Mage and like Vendilion Clique, like I don't know, like an Esper or Azorius, like mid-range style deck with like Nimble, Larcenist, that kind of stuff, I could see this. It's hard for me to be like, this is going into a deck that puts up results, or has like a lot of game to it, but it's pushed, so who knows? It might just see play off that merit. HD, welcome back for the 43rd month. How you doing? Mimi HD. Well, glad to have you. Good to see you. Thank you for all the support. Slam Dunk in 2021 Gladiator. Yeah, that's true. Played over God's Willing? Unironically, yes, Griffern. Yeah, this is what you would play. Christ, I feel like I've been talking for like 8 hours straight already. Rowdy Research. 6 in a blue, it's an instant. Spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature that attacked this turn. You draw 3 cards. This can work for your creatures. This can work for your opponent's creatures. And by work, I mean you can pay 5 mana for this card. Or maybe get lucky and pay 4. This is a commander card. It's not in the commander set, but I imagine that this will show up in commander more than anything. And even then, I'm not super excited to play this in commander. Like, it's just okay. Cool. I mean, I like that they're playing around with cost reduction, especially cost reduction that incentivizes people to attack, or makes cost reduction that makes your opponent have to consider how many things they're attacking with, you know? But maybe, I don't know, maybe just I'm just on tilt because I saw somebody fucking tweeted this card on Twitter with just like the caption of like, what? It's just like, what am I missing? I you know what? I'm going to be a hater. You mind if I be a hater real quick? I feel like there's not enough hate online right now. Yeah, just like imagining someone being like, excuse me? Jace's ingenuity? It's just so fucked. God damn. If you're going to share, new rule. If you're going to share a picture of a card on, it's like fair use. If you're going to share an image of a card on Twitter or anywhere, you have to fucking do anything to it. You have to add something to it. You can't just post the card and go, I mean, you could, if honestly, if there was some way to do that, just go, that'd be okay. But just posting this card and going like, yeah, that just happened. No, not allowed. We're banning it. We're banning it. This fucking platform's going down the drain anyways. Might as well try to save a little bit of semblance of, you know, a little bit. You gotta have something, not just, huh? And it doesn't have to be correct. It doesn't have to be a fucking essay. It could be a joke. It could be a bit. It could be anything. Like even posting this card and being like, huh, I don't think this is going to, like, I can't foresee this card being that cheap, but what if it were Ancestral Recall? You know? Like, even if it's Magical Christmas Land, I'll take it over just like, what? God, it fucking boils my berries. Commander card. Commander card. Posting Opt with Ha Lamau? Yeah, I mean, that's funny. Sure, why not? Posting a picture of Sleight of Hand and be like, what the fuck? Can they do this? Or, you know, whatever. What is, can they reprint a card from Portal? I thought Portal was illegal. Dark Tutelage. 2 and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Lose life equal to the converted mana value. Putting out actual analysis doesn't farm engagement. If I can't do that, then what's the point? Why does just sharing a fucking card farm engagement? Like, it's Twitter. It doesn't matter. I tweet out Magic the Gathering. Right? Like, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal for any of this shit, but I don't know, just hold on. Let me get extra salty and find an example. I think it was exactly for this card. Bear with me. I have to go through the posts, a bunch of posts. Like, just anything. Oh, fuck. Like this shit. Who's congrats? Congrats to who? You got a job offer? Congratulations. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go, fam. Fully. No, I have like 2,500 more to make. I'm getting around to it. I mean, this... I don't know. Maybe this doesn't even count. Spits out coffee. Wow. 1,300... 1,300 likes. All I'm asking is that people just all I want. Twitter is just so fucking bad nowadays. All I want is just a little bit of like, just make a small amount of effort. Also, it's not even like this. If you're going to do that, etiquette. You type it like that. That's how you spit out coffee. I thought about I have a good gimmick account. Chat. I know gimmick accounts are dead on Twitter. I have a good gimmick account. What if I make a gimmick account that just anytime a new card or artwork gets posted, it should probably be new card or secret layer. Anytime it gets posted, I tweet out a picture of it with the caption of like, huh? Wow. And that's it. Every single time. Or like, this just dropped. just every single time. Don't change it at all. So this happened. So they just printed this. Yeah, what the fuck? The bot that posts this card will see indeed. No, but that's great. This dropped and so did my jaw. Has anybody seen this? I mean, sometimes for some of them, like I don't want to be a super like jaded shithead about this kind of thing. Like there are certain things that pop up where, yeah, not everybody is going to know about, I don't know, what's like a commander combo? What's like a good commander combo? Like even something like Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond or whatever. Like, I don't know if somebody's like, whoa, I just found out this combo. Like, sure, whatever. Like that's fine. What's his killing commander? But like some of these posts, it is wild that this is going to be the thing that gets me off this fucking platform. It's just posts that make me want to pull out my hair. I don't know. Dark tutelage, everybody. Dark tutelage. Devouring Sugar Maw. 2 black for a 6/6 horror with menace and trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sack an artifact, enchantment, or token. If you don't, tap Devouring Sugar Maw. And it has have for dinner. 1 and a white, it's an instant with adventure. Create a 1/1 white human token and a food token. So that is a powerful, yeah, wow, spit out my coffee. Actually, is that should be it for the alt. It should be spits out coffee. Oh wow. Like that. That's the alt. What should we call the alt? I gotta make this right now. Spits on coffee. Magic spit takes. Correct magic takes. How about we call it good magic content? Good magic poster. Yeah, great. Good magic poster. How about full-time content creator? Good magic content son spitting out coffee. Good magic content son or spitting out coffee daughter. Ooh, that's fucking hard. I'm going to have to go with Gay Sun. All right, so this card. I really like the have for dinner side of it. Like 2 mana instant, make a 1/1 and a food. That's like, it's not in the game kind of effect, but that's a lot, right? One, and that's like half of the card. If you can play both of these, like I think this card might actually show up in aristocrats, like Mardukratz. I could see this card showing up, although Mardukratz doesn't actually care about the food token. I don't know, it's tough. Making a food token and a human on one single card at instant speed, and then being able to slam a 6/6 menace trample that might get a hit in. It's tough. It's tough to find a home for this card, but I think we can find something. I think like it's got enough good going for it. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody in chat. Round of applause, everybody. Give everybody a round of applause. This is why, and this is why we have the best community here on Twitch, because not a single person here has compared this card to some twink's asshole, and that takes a lot of strength. That makes that is impressive. It shows character, and it means that people aren't going for low-hanging fruit, and that's incredible. Did that on the Discord? Well, there's no hope. There's no help for the Discord. I just didn't. I didn't do it. Why would I do it? Yeah, I mean, of course, Joey types I should call him. Ooh, another gimmick account. It's just pictures of Magic cards that just say I should call him. Damn, we're gonna have so many bots, so many gimmick accounts that we have to run. Experimental Confectioner. 2 and a black for a 2/3 human peasant. When Experimental Confectioner enters the battlefield, you make a food token. When you sack a food, you make a rat. With this creature can't block. This card's great. We actually, I can't believe it, we get to talk about a good Magic card. So there's a certain card that this combos with. So Peregrine Took says if one or more tokens would be created, you make those tokens plus a food. And then when you sack a food, you make a 1/1. So if we sack 3 foods to parry here, we get 3 rats, because Experimental Confectioner doesn't say when you sack 1 or more foods. So this is just a 2-card combo that both make food, or they both interact with food. They both interact with sacrificing things, and not relevant for us, but you can get both of them off Collected Company. Spits out coffee. All right, we need to add this command. Add coffee. Holy shit. I mean, honestly, if one thing could come from this particular stream is if just every time we start talking about new cards, chat is just people going spits out coffee, oh wow, and anybody seen this? Yeah, history being made right here, right now. This is going to be a point. If you plot out the trajectory of this stream, this is going to be up here with Sticky Note. This is going to be up here with the Echo Hellion. You were here when this happened, chat. Monumental shit. Yeah, this is actually a good Magic card. I think I'll play this in the Canlander Food deck as well. Yeah, I'll play this in the Canlander Food deck. Yeah, it's like a fuck you Mox time. This is big. And I mean, it's funny to me now, and I think it'll be funny to me down the line. Commander card. Speaking of good food cards, Gumdrop Poisoner. 2 and a black for a 3/2 human warlock with lifelink. And when Gumdrop Poisoner enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. And then it has Tempt with Treats. 1 black, instant, adventure, make a food token. I love it. 1 mana make a food as a portion of this card is great. Big fan of that. As an instant. Spits out latte. Yeah, and it doesn't matter how you gain the life, making the food token, cracking it, and then having this come into play and kill something. Pretty nice. There are a lot of black mid-range cards that already just gain life, like having this card down with like a Gifted Aetherborn or with a Nighthawk Scavenger. Yeah, this card does good work. It's another card that's better in multiples as well, because you like the idea of like 1 being able to hit, gain you 3 life, and then playing a second one to just kill a thing, so you don't have to waste time making it food if you don't want one. Yeah, good card. I think this will see Gladiator play. Malevolent Witch Kite. 6 mana 5/4 Dragon Warlock with flying, and when Malevolent Witch Kite enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, and or tokens, then draw that many cards. This is just what's it called? God Eternal Bond. It's just God Eternal Bond 2. Non-legendary God Eternal Bond 2 that is also just limited to what you sacrifice, and it costs more. Don't play this magic card, play God Eternal Bond 2. Minstrosity. 2 mana 3/1 horror. When Minstrosity dies, create a food token. Spits out coffee. Oh, yeah, there are a couple of there's another one in black that have the very punny kind of names to them. That's it. It's a cool name, I guess. Minstrosity. This is the kind of name where, is this what the people in the world call it? Like, do people in Eldraine call this a minstrosity? Who calls this minstrosity? Like, this is a name for us, the Magic player, and not a name for like the world of Eldraine, it feels like. Which I guess is okay. I don't know. There's a part of it. I like some of these, you know, very funny kind of cards. Tough Cookie, I like. You know, I could see somebody saying that in world. Minstrosity is a lot, you know. There's the other black one I think has a better name. Is it just called Sweet Tooth? No. What is it called? Is it sweet? Is it something abomination? We'll get to it when we get to it. Commander card? Scream Puff. Oh, no, that is bad. When were cream puffs invented? '17th. Oh. 19th century. The 19th century. Okay. Yeah. Old Flitterfang. 4 and a black for a 3/4 rat fairy, and it's a legend with flying. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you make a food token. Then pay 2 and a black, sack another creature or artifact. It gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Cool rat fairy. Big fan of the rat fairy here. That's it. I mean, it's a cool limited card. Each end step is also pretty nice, and the fact that it doesn't matter if it's your creatures or their creatures that die. Obviously, this is too expensive to see Gladiator play, but I don't know. It's a cool build around, right? Like for a commander, as just having something in the command zone that makes food every single end step is pretty hot. Big fan. I could see this card popping up. Also, it's cute. It's a rat fairy. It's a rat with wings. Look how excited Ratthew. I just realized Ratthew has been spinning at 200%. Usually I have Ratthew at about 85%, but Ratthew got real happy over previous season. There's just so many rats. Okay, Ratthew does need to calm down a little bit. I put Ratthew at a much more reasonable speed. And I hope that's okay with everybody. I don't want the little guy to tucker himself out. You know, he's got a big day ahead of him. It's the PPR. It's the PPR. It's the freaking PPR. Ratthew is consistently spitting out coffee. Spits out coffee. Oh, wow. This won't get old. Unironically. Rankle's Prankle. 2 black for a sorcery. Choose 1 or more. Each player draws 2 cards. Nope, that's not... Sorry. You'll have to excuse me. I got it wrong because I have a cool story to tell. Choose 1 or more. Each player discards 2 cards. Each player loses 4 life, and each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Straight from Wilds of Eldraine Vision Lead and senior game designer for Wizards of the Coast, Chris Mooney. That this card was in... They tried a bunch of different things with this card. They were going to try to have it be Rankle's abilities. They thought about making it draw cards, but that's... I mean, like, a group divination in black is kind of a thing. It's, and then they settled on this, and I think that's okay. 4 life is a lot of life. Each player sacking 2, like, Barter in Blood with more, with more text on it is kind of hot. I don't know how competitive the decks that are playing this card are going to be. My guess is not, but it's a cool little card. Kind of a brutal card for Commander. He's a huge asshole, Torbrand. Scream Puff. Yeah, this was just another card that was on here for its name. And we already talked about it. Great. I don't want to spoil this card because we talk about it in the Crack-a-Pack that's coming up with the PPR. Spellscorn Coven. 3 and a black for a 2/3 fairy warlock with flying. When it ETBs, each opponent discards a card and has Take It Back as an adventure. For 2 and a blue instant, return target spell to its owner's hand. The play patterns on this card is kind of miserable, where it's just like, oh, you're casting a spell, back to your hand, untap, slam this, now pitch a card. But I think it's slow enough that obviously it'll be okay for Gladiator. But I've been looking at this card and being like, I mean, 3 mana for an instant is a lot, but there are food tokens, there are activated abilities, enchantments that sack themselves. This can add up quickly, I think. Like in terms of like how annoying it can be. And you don't need to cast it right away. You can just like bounce something for tempo, and then later on, once they get low on cards, you play this card. Stab Wound. So Stab Wound's back. 2 and a black, enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2 at the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller. Player loses 2 life. This was the art that I saw. This is the art I opened one of my pre-release kits. Spoiler alert. And wow, the Enchanted Tales cards, they look foil, even if they're non-foil. But yeah, I opened this and I thought this was very goofy. I'm probably going to play it because Stab Wound's quite good. I don't know if you should play this in Gladiator though, because it's pretty expensive. But like the card. I mean, it's this is the kind of goofiness that I like, instead of like Scream Puff or Minstrosity, because it feels like that takes away, like that's a joke for you, not a thing that shows up. It's like Gorilla Titan, you know? As much as I love Gorilla Titan, it's one of those ones where it's like, I want a banana this big. It's just so stupid. And I think you can have some fun and pop some jokes in there while also treating it like the situation it would be in real, like, because these are like killer donuts, right? They're like animated sugar horrors. And so it's just like you could have the goofiness while still making it a part of the world. Is my take on it. My take on it. Sugar Rush. 1 in a black. Wait, no. Yeah, this is just another card. I think I added all the black cards on here that just have kind of goofy names. That gorilla has a tail? It's a tiger tail. This is like half gorilla, half tiger. It's from an interesting block in Magic. I do like I smell frosting. Ready your weapons. That's okay. I don't mind that. Because it's just like, yeah, if you were people fighting against these like animated candy horrors and they smelled like frosting and sugar, you would be like, oh, I smell them. They're nearby. Get ready, right? Also, Greta. Big fan of Greta. We talked about Greta, but do I have my Greta? I don't know. What can I show off? Oh, I will show off one thing, because people have already done streams. People in the ambassador program have already done streams showing off cards. But take a look at this. Look at that turtle. Wow. Foil full art turtle. Very cute. Oh, it's a tortoise. Hey, wait a minute. Blossoming tortoise. The coffee. Blossoming tortoise is a turtle? My immersion is ruined. It's a good turtle and her tortoise. Vampiric Rites. Hold on. Hello? Vampiric Rites is now on Arena. I double checked this card. Yeah, it's on Arena. First printing on Arena. 1 black enchantment, pay 1 in a black, sack a creature, gain a life, draw a card. Cheap to play, reasonably cheap to activate. The life gain is pretty nice to have alongside drawing the cards. I think this card could show up in some of the aristocrat stacks. My one concern is that it shows up. We're now getting this card when we're also getting Goblin Bombardment. Like, you do have to make, you can't have all of these non-creature cards, like all these enchantments that do things with your creatures, because you need a density of creatures, right? And we got some real heaters with this set. So this might be a case of we got it a bit too late, which is a little unfortunate. But again, maybe if you're like a 2-color aristocrat stack, I could see it. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, baby. Wicked Visitor. 1 and a black for a 2/2 Nightmare. Whenever an enchantment you control is put to the graveyard from play, each opponent loses 1 life. Cool. I feel fucking Wicked Visitor, bruh. Incredible. They made a card from Boston and there's not a drop of racism on it. Anywho, this card is, I imagine it'll be a big commander card for decks that give a hoot about enchantments. There's the Saga, the new Narcy, the new Saga Spins have my Duncan. Holy shit. The too tall to be from Boston. Oh my god. Woo. Woo. No, I mean not. I mean Anakthea is the main commander, but Narsi, she's the one that I want. She's the coolest commander from the past year, in my opinion. I imagine this is the kind of card that might pop up in like an RC deck, although it's, I don't know, it is a little low impact. But Commander players love low impact cards that just trigger whenever. They love cards that say whenever, you know? It's why their favorite Shakira song is, I think it's called Whenever. Oh, this joke sucks. Anywho. The Witch's Vanity. 1 and a black for a saga. It's an uncommon. Chapter 1, destroy target creature an opponent controls with mana value 2 or less. Chapter 2 is you make a food token. And chapter 3 is create a wicked roll token attached to target creature you control. This card's kind of nice. I mean, destroying something with mana value 2 or less is pretty hot. Elspeth's Nightmare saw quite a bit of play. It said power 2 or less on that, so it could hit some more expensive utility creatures, but it fell a little short in dealing with, I don't know, like a Ranger class Wolf token that is now a 3/3, or I guess Tarmogoyf now. It's finding a spot for this because the Wicked Roll is a more aggressive kind of card. The food token is defensive, and then destroying a creature is just something for everyone. Maybe this could show up in like a sacrifice deck because it makes another permanent. It makes 2 other permanents. You could maybe give this a shot in. I'll certainly play this in Incarnation because it's a 2-mana kill thing. Make a food, then sack it. But yeah, it's kind of there's a lot going on. It makes sense for the flavor of the card, but in how people actually play these decks, it's a different story. Commander card we can't talk about. Food Fight. I love Food Fight. 1 in a red for an enchantment. Artifacts you control have pay 2 generic. Sacrifice this artifact. It deals damage to any target equal to 1 plus the number of permanents named Food Fight you control. So this is a 2-mana artifact. We won't be able to get through this without me just laughing every time people spit out coffee. Yeah, so this card's great. It's pay 2, sack a thing, deal 2. But I like that. It's just for artifacts. So you lose out like makeshift munitions, being 1 mana, sack artifact or creature, deal 1 is better, right? But again, we also have Goblin Bombardment. They're different cards. What I like about Food Fight is a quality of life update for this type of card. Because decks that want cards like Goblin Bombardment and like makeshift munitions, they need to have one of those cards, right? Typically they're decks that are built around playing a bunch of small pieces that are pretty like the sum is greater than the individual parts, because the cheap creatures you're sacrificing or the token generation that you're playing, they're not actually going to win you the game. You need cards, you need these payoffs, bombardment, munitions, Food Fight to actually kill people, right? And so you need to have them in play to do something, but having multiple Goblin Bombardments doesn't do anything. Like, it gives you some insurance if one blows up, but it doesn't do anything for like your play pattern. So they added the line of text so that if you are a deck in standard or 60 card format and you're like, I'm a Food Fight deck, my deck makes a bunch of food tokens, artifact tokens, and then I sack them all to Food Fight. If you draw redundant copies of this card, it doesn't feel bad. So you can include 4 copies of this card in your deck that is built around playing with this card, and you don't feel like an asshole for drawing multiple copies of them. Phenomenal. 10 out of 10 design. Love it. Love it to bits. Godric, Cloaked Reveler. 1 red for a 3/3 legendary creature, human noble with haste. Any Brazen Scourge enjoyers in chat? Huh? Anybody up playing with their gremlins? 3 mana 3/3 haste with Celebration. As long as 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control. Godric is a dragon with haste. Wait, hold on. Godric is a dragon with base power toughness 4/4 flying, and pay a red. Dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. I can't fucking do this. Oh wow, the spits out. It's too much. It's way too much. It's so good. This card is pretty good. Again, the floor for a 3 mana 3/3 haste is reasonable. You just cast this super cheap, like cast on turn 2 or turn 3. Start turning it sideways. You kill people. You generate multiple tokens in a turn. Boom, you got a dragon. You play redundant mana dork, so you've been saving in your hand. Boom, you got a dragon. Yeah, card's pretty good. Pretty good. It's just like no part of this card is bad, right? Hard to argue with that. Can we get a live spit take on stream so Sibwow can meme? I don't want to do an actual spit take. Yeah, I don't want to do an actual spit take. Oh, wow. Earth Elemental. Does that count? Earth Elemental. 5 and a red for a 4/5 elemental. The spell costs X less to cast, where X is the number of... Oh, sorry. Thank you. Where X is the number of cards in your graveyard that are instant sorceries and or have adventure. And then it has an adventure of Stoke Genius. 1 and a red for a sorcery. Discard your hand and draw 2 cards. What is this card called? No, it's not Wild Guess. Dangerous Wager? Oh, wow. We got it. Pretty cool card. Pretty cool card. These cards are always very exciting until you actually play with them, and then they don't feel super great. 4/5 is pretty big. It's only 6 mana, so if you cast this card for 3, which is very doable, it's not the end of the world, right? 3 mana 4/5, okie dokie. And it sets up itself with the adventure. So this is the kind of card where if you draw it, or it's like the last card in your hand, like the play pattern for these cards is already you want to have them be the last card in your hand. If you go through with that play pattern, this is the last card in your hand, then you're going to be able to just like, okay, draw 2 and then play a 1 mana card. And that's pretty hot. That's pretty hot. So I think that usually these cards get overvalued because, you know, Magical Christmas Land, right? They're like, oh my god, a 2 mana 3/4 that lets me draw 3 cards? This is unparalleled. You can't parallel this. And then they end up being like kind of mid, or they end up being like only in a very specific deck do they show up. But for here, I think that enough good is going on with this card that I'd consider playing it. Oh wow, I shouldn't have spat out all that coffee. I'm getting parched. Imidane's Recruiter. 2 and a red for a 2/2 human knight. When Imidane's Recruiter enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. That includes Imidane's Recruiter. And then has Train Troops. 5 mana sorcery, adventure, create 2/2 a white knight, creature tokens with vigilance. It's kind of neat that this is just a human. I think that the power level for this card is a little too low for Boros humans or for a more aggressive multicolored humans deck. But it pumps itself, which is kind of nice. If the tokens it made were humans, then I think it would have a bit more juice. But it is kind of funny because 5 mana make 2 mana, 5 mana create 2/2 knights with vigilance is create knight vigilance. Like, that's just a magic card, right? Knightly, call the cavalry. That's just a whole ass magic card. And this card was 5 mana before that. Knightly Watch. Yeah, Knightly Watch from Gatecrash. Why am I, or Night Watch? Time for my Nightly Watch. Yeah. 8 mana for 3/3/2s with haste. I mean, that's not the end of the world in like a in a limited game, right? You're fine spreading these out. You're fine playing this early to pressure and just build up the board. If you draw it late, you can just make 2 bodies for 1 card, for like half of a card, and then double spell with this next turn. But yeah, like 8 mana hits you for 9 is also just like not the end of the world, depending on the speed of this format. Cool card. Cool card. Shared Animosity. Oh, wow. 2 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. If this is going to find a home anywhere, it's going to be in goblins. We have a mono red goblins deck that will play a card like this because it can just kill people. If you don't want to play it because it's not a goblin, understandable. That's it. Pretty straightforward. This card really hasn't changed. Not humans. Again, like the humans decks in the format that show up, like there's humans dipping into white gives you so much more utility that you don't need to have like pure aggression. Whereas goblins plays a bunch of like idiot goblins that just make more goblins, right? Like goblins play this. And not just one copy, they play multiple copies. Humans might play Rally at Hornburg, but this card has additional text, right? So yeah, it's a card that'll show up and make all your incidental 1/1s that are created with your other goblins. Goblins plays worse cards than fodder. That's true. Dragon Fodder just came to mind because it's just like 1/1s. But yeah. Animosity, not bad. Song of Totentans. X and a red for sorcery. You make X 1/1 black rat tokens, but this creature can't block, and creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. This is the kind of card that somebody, I'm sure, has posted this on Twitter and called it Secure the Hastes. Actually, you know what? Here we go. If anybody, for the inevitable nickname episode for WoW, if you want a freebie, Secure the Hastes. There you go. Yeah, Secure the Hastes. I'll even put it in chat. We have to cancel the nickname episode for WoW because too many of the submissions were just spits out coffee. Oh, wow. I didn't even talk about this card. I don't know. It's nice. You get to make a bunch of rats. The rats have haste. You can push for a bunch of damage. Pretty good in aristocrats, or maybe even like a Naya tokens deck. Those are the places that I would consider playing it. Gladiator only. Why are they black? Because rats are black. Next question. Unruly Catapult. 2 and a red for an 0/4 artifact creature construct with Defender. Tap deals 1 damage to each opponent. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap Unruly Catapult. Chat. You know where I'm going with this. Why, it's my large, lovely, fat son, who I'm going to keep. It's my Looney Tunes deck. This card is a slam dunk in Looney Tunes. You just keep ramming. For people that don't know, I have a Hans Eriksson deck with walls that I call Looney Tunes. because whenever he attacks, you reveal the top card and it's a wall, and so he runs into a wall. And because Hans and the creature reveal, they fight each other, but they're walls, so it's not going to hurt Hans. And that deck has like a instant and sorcery kind of sub theme to it. And this card goes right into that. That's it. Thanks for listening. Does it still have the 5/3 wall? You bet. I can't take it out now. The Rage Nimbus. Can't cut it. Commune with Nature. 1 green for and a sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You can put a creature card from among them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. This card was originally in Champions of Kamigawa. And we have Once Upon a Time. So there's a spot where you could, like, I don't know, maybe this card is fine if you're like a turbo creature combo deck. But we have Once Upon a Time. So just play Once Upon a Time. It's the kind of effect that you only really want one of them. And just play the one that could be accidentally free, you know? I just had to talk about it because it was a Kamigawa card. Can't talk about Commander. Feral Encounter. This is an odd one. Green sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may exile a creature from among them. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may then cast the exiled card this turn. At the beginning of the next combat phase this turn, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power up to 1 target creature you don't control. Why can't I talk about the commander cards? Because people in chat can donate $5 to have me skip any individual card. And at the beginning of the stream, Wormy donated $100 so that I skipped every single commander card. This is, I gotta tell you, this stream might go down as one of the top rodeo streams in a while. Like, this is a good stream. We have the off the bat massive donation to just muck. Like, I love that is such a level of hating that is so impressive, and it's great. It's great. You'll love to see it. We have the oh wow. We like, there's just a lot going on here, you know. So this card's wild, right? Like, you cast it and you get to like find a creature and say, okay, I can cast it this turn. And it's only this turn. And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to 1 target creature you don't control. So it makes, it's not even a fight. It's a like delayed trigger. It's like, get a creature that you can only get into play this turn. And then the play pattern for this card is like, find a creature, play that creature. That creature then bites an opponent's creature. But it doesn't have to be the one that you... Oh, you can't bite with the thing, right? Because you need a legal target. Target creature you control. No, because it's... Wait, at the beginning of your upkeep? We need a judge that is more active than I am. It's a delayed trigger. Yeah, next combat, not upkeep. That's the... All right, get your free corrections in there. I misspoke. Get it. Come on, get them in. Get them in. YouTube comment all you want, chat. Yeah, it's this turn. It's so wild. Weird set of effects. My read is that this card is good. It's a card that can replace itself, and it could also have something fight. Yeah, it works the way I thought it did. Great. Yeah, this card will see play. It's just a weird one. Good, we got it settled. Moving on. Moving on. Wait, was that actually one? Yeah, it was. Gruff triplets. 3 green, green, green for a 3/3 satyr warrior with trample. And when Gruff triplets enters play, if it isn't a token, you create 2 tokens that are copies of it. When Gruff triplets dies, put a number of 1/1 counters on it. Wait, put a number of 1/1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff triplets. Holy shit. So this is a 6-mana card. Which is a lot. And like, you look at the other 6-mana green creatures that we have in the format. We got Prime Time. We've got Vorinclex, the good one. We've got the Hunt Master. What are you even called? Bolvar's Hunt Master. We have some bangers, right? 3 bodies, all of them 3/3s, and if one of them dies, you get 2 6/6s, and then you get a 12/12. So you need either mass removal, like a board wipe, or you need like bounce and exile to like stymie, you know, your total and utter ending, right? Like this card's just going to kill you. Yeah, this card's very good. I would be shocked if this didn't end up seeing play. You got to kill them all. Got to kill them all. They do 3/3 means that we're going to die to a lot of the red removal, which is at least a way to deal with this. Dice to Languish. Like, there are things that kill this as well. Like, all the board wipes kind of kill this, as long as something hasn't died. God, imagine cloning this card. It's a lot of goats. Hollow Scavenger. 2 and a green for a 3/2 wolf that has pay 1, sack of food. Hollow Scavenger gets +2/+2 till end of turn. Activate only once each turn. And then there is an adventure. Bakery Raid. 1 green, sorcery, create a food token. 1 mana, make a food token as a part of the card. Great. Being a 5/4 for sacking, you know, food, also pretty great. I feel like this card, I would give it a shot. I feel like people might look past this because it's not the Gumdrop Poisoner and it's just a common. But this card does a lot, right? Makes a food, makes a body that can turn your food into a lot of pressure. And it's not activate only at sorcery speed. Like a certain set of dogs I know. It's nice. Yeah, I could see this card showing up as a role player. Before I talk about this pig, I'm going to get some water because if you can't tell, I'm losing my voice and I got a PPR. So give me 1 second. What up? I got a haircut on Wednesday, chat. What do you think? I just got it short on the sides, a little longer on the top. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Somebody donated $5 and said no pigs sad. Are you telling me to skip the pig? You don't have to dox yourself. Is that $5 to skip the pig? Or is it $5 because my dog named Pig is dead and not here to look at this card? That's what that means? Okay. Commander. Commander. Mosswood Dread Knight. 1 in a green for 3/2. It's a human knight with trample. When Mosswood Dread Knight dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until the end of your next turn. And then as an adventure, there's Dread Whispers. 1 in a black sorcery, draw a card and lose 1 life. Yeah, this card's pretty good. Card's pretty good. 2 in a 3/2 trample that lets you just immediately buy into doing this again is pretty hot. This is kind of a funny card because its play pattern really feels like you're not playing this for like adventure into creature. Oh yeah, this card is way too slow for Dredge Root Potato. Not close. Way too slow. This is the kind of card where you want to play it as the creature and then have it die and then you can rebuy it. Phage, thank you for the $10. Unskip Pig. Intrepid Truffle Snout. 1 in a green for a 3/1 boar. With whenever Intrepid Truffle Snout attacks alone, create a food token. And then it has the adventure Go Hog Wild. For 1 in a green, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. This is a very nice pig. I need to update my pig deck. I don't know. I think I've told this story before. There was a player, maybe they're even in chat right now. A very nice player that I met at MagicCon Philly that had a pig deck. They had a Gruul pig deck in Commander. And I remember them being like, you can sign any... They asked me if I could sign a card. And they're like, you can sign any 1 card in the deck. And I was like, do I have to just sign 1? And their reaction was so nice. It was the like, you can do that? Kind of thing. Yeah, I have it here. I need to update it though, because I haven't updated it for a while. They asked me, I asked them for the deck list, and this is their deck list. It has Kamal and Jessica at the helm, a brother and sister looking after their pig farm. It has like the Domri raid as a cowboy too. If I had to sign only 1, which one would I sign? I think I signed... I can't remember what I signed. I signed like 5 of them, I think. I like Crowsand Tusker. I like Job Pig. I like Sparkle Pig. I think I signed Truffle Snout or Gristleback. Those were 2 of the ones that I know I signed. Dirkwood Boars. But yeah, this deck needs Prized Pig and it needs Intrepid Truffle Snout now. I think I signed Flinthoof Boar too, the beautiful pig. I signed a lot of pigs. If you're watching this, your pig deck rules. And Intrepid Truffle Snout gets in there. Yeah, Blazing Shoal. Sweet. Oof, oof. Talked about this. Primal Vigor. Spits out coffee. Oh, wow. The original. For a green enchantment, if one or more tokens would be created, create twice that many tokens instead. And if one or more 1/1 counters are put on a creature, twice that many are put on it instead. This card's symmetrical. It's not going to show up in Gladiator. I do like that they gave us Primal Vigor, Doubling Season, and Parallel Lives. All three of them are on the bonus sheet, which is great. Print those cards into Oblivion. They should not be as expensive as they are. Into Oblivion. Yo, why does this rabbit have like jury feet? Here, hold on. Thankfully, I have a picture of this card that we can zoom in on. Spits coffee out. Wow! Wow, feet! Dude, I fucking love feet. I got 2 of them myself. Yeah, look at these. Jesus Christ. Some people can't even afford 1 boat, and this rabbit's got at least 3 of them. Oh wow. Provisions Merchant. 2 and 2 green for a 3/3 Beast Peasant. When it enters the battlefield, you make a food token. And whenever Provisions Merchant attacks, you may sack a food. If you do, attacking creatures get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. That is a messed up ability for a common. Like, real talk. Maybe I'm old, but that is a messed up ability for a common. Giving your entire team, uncommon, excuse me. Giving your entire team like a mini overrun. In my head, I was saying uncommon. So everything I says still stands. Like the fact that this ETBs with a food, which is nice, means you're for sure going to get this once, as long as you can attack. And then just lets you, like, if you're a deck with a bunch of food things, you're going to be able to reliably get this going every single attack. And that's sick. Giving everything trample and +1/+1, yeesh. Which is why we're talking about it here, because I think this might actually, like, depending on what the food deck ends up looking like, I could see this card showing up, because those decks also just generate a bunch of tokens. And giving trample to all your things is pretty nice. Also, I like the art. I hit a drum roll for some reason, but it's appropriate because it's this card. Ta-da! This is the card that I was very excited to talk about. This was the one that I was waiting till it got previewed, and I was like, oh, there's one card I really want to talk about. Questing Druid. 1 and a green for a 1/1. Whenever you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, you put a 1/1 counter on Questing Druid. And then it has Seek the Beast as an adventure. 1 in a red. As an instant, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until your next end step, you may play those cards. We just have another Quirion Dryad. I'll take as many Quirion Dryads as you want to give me. That's it. It's QD as well. Big fan of the QD. Whereas Kiefer's a big fan of the DQ, if you know what I mean. You heard about all these ice cream cakes, huh? Anywho. Yeah, this is a card that I'm going to play in the decks that I play Quirion Dryad and Deeproot Champion and all that jazz. Obviously, the adventure part is nice. It's not the end of the world. I would have played it without it, but it's still something that'll show up occasionally and be nice to have. Red Tooth Vanguard. Clap, 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 clap. 1 and a green for a 3/1 Elf Warrior with Trample. Whenever... Yeah, this card's bad. I don't want to talk about it. Sentinel of Lost Lore. 1 green for a 3/4 Elf Knight. When it ETBs, choose 1 or more. Return target card you own in exile that has an adventure to your hand. Put target card you don't own in exile that has adventure on the bottom of its owner's library, and exile target player's graveyard. So I think those first two abilities are a little too niche for this card to actually show up. But I could see it if you're teching for like a specific matchup. Like this card could show up. Like 3 mana 3/4 Bajuka Bog, plus like maybe you muck someone's Bone Crusher Giant, maybe you rebuy your own Lovestruck Beast. Like that's nice. That's something. A 3/4 too. It's not bad. Survives Bolt. It's above rate, but it's also very set specific. So, you know, it's not good enough in an elf deck. I mean, if you want graveyard removal in your elf deck and you're like, Scavenging Ooze isn't an elf, I'm an imposter, then maybe you could play this card instead. But I might play both if you're really that worried. Nope. Up the Beanstalk. Look at those beans. 1 and a green for an enchantment. When Up the Beanstalk enters play, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. This is a cool card. 2 mana enchantment that just ETBs draws a card. And then if you play anything bigger, you get to draw more cards. I like this card a lot. I bet this card will see standard play. I don't have much to talk about for this card other than it's neat. But I bet it'll see standard play. Because of Leyline Binding, and like Herd Migration, like that style of deck. Like you're not doing anything anyways early on. Might as well just play something that cycles and then it will redraw you stuff later on. Yeah, good with Convoke too. You got some play with this card. Sorry, Mulder wants pets. If Mulder wants pets, Mulder's gonna get pets. Welcome to Sweet Tooth. And welcome Dysund back for the 4th month. How you doing? Glad to have you. Good to see you. Thank you for the support. Means a lot to me. Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Can I take your order? 1 and a green for a Saga. It's an enchantment with 3 chapters. Chapter 1, make a human. Chapter 2, make a food. Chapter 3, put X counters on target creature you control where X is 1 plus the number of food you control. I think this card will show up in the Incarnation deck. Again, it's a 2 mana enchantment, makes a body, makes additional permanents, and then you can just sack it. Nice. It does, the things that are doing are not super impactful, but it's, I mean, making a 3/3 after this is not the end of the world. Obviously, making 2 permanents off of 1 card is pretty good. What is this? Hold on. What is this? I need to brush my cat. Not here. Not now. But someday. For the rest of my life. At least her life. Danger Diabolique. Welcome back for the 15th month. Holy smokes. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Thank you so much for all the support. Yeah, I think this card will show up. Just kind of niche in where it's going to show up. Wildwood Mentor. 2 to green for a 1/1 tree folk. Whenever a token enters the battlefield under your control, you put a 1/1 counter on Wildwood Mentor. Whenever Wildwood Mentor attacks, another target attacking creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is Wildwood Mentor's power. This is a card where you look at it and you're like, okay, this could get so big and it can make something else big. But it's a 3 mana 1/1 with no ETB. And in order for this to dodge a bunch of removal, it needs to get up to being a 3 mana. I gotta brush my cat. It ends up, you need, like, it just dies to everything. It needs to attack to get any bonus going, doesn't have trample. It's just a card where there's not enough going for it to have any reasonable impact. Nalolua, welcome back for the 21st month. How you doing? Wild how they didn't include commander decks in this set. Yeah, it's weird. Commander's a pretty popular format. I'm kind of shocked that they decide not to have them show up, but don't know. Hey, I'm not the wizard of the coast. Am I right? Alder's looking at me like I'm not right. Thank you for the support. Commander. Commander. Candy Trail. 1 mana artifact. Food Clue. When it ETBs, you scry 2 and pay 2, tap, sack Candy Trail. You gain 3 life and draw a card. So Candy Trail does $100 would negate the previous $100, but it would do so in a way that I have to be respectful, because $100 is a lot of money and I don't want there to be a war. $100 donated would mean that I would just do a separate, like I would have to like finish all these and then we would go talk about all the commander cards. Sorry, I'm really preoccupied with brushing my cat right now. This is a pretty good egg. Pretty good egg. It has an ETB, which the 1 mana ones usually don't have. The one downside is that sacrificing the 2 mana to sacrifice it is expensive, and it doesn't replace itself. A lot of other eggs replace themselves. Scrying 2 on ETB is nice because it sets up the like, well, am I going to need to sacrifice it, or am I just okay with this being a 2 mana egg? It kind of reminds me of Witching Well. Kind of reminds me of Witching Well. It's just a little bit easier to cast and cheaper to activate, and it's gonna keep us alive. Egg is not candy. Tap. Nope, wrong. Egg candy. Egg candy. Mini eggs. Egg gummies. Candy made from eggs. Most incorrect thing I've ever seen you say, Asthanius. And that says a lot. No, no. I did say mini eggs. What do you mean, why? Oh my god. Anywho. Collector's Vault. 2 mana artifact. Pay 2, tap, draw a card, discard a card, create a treasure token. Cool card for commander. Maybe even some, like, I could maybe see this pop up in a bit of a slower Gladiator deck that wants this. It's just really hard to justify a card that doesn't actually end up doing anything. It is very pushed for this kind of effect, though. Obviously, repeatable treasure generation is nice. Being able to cycle through extra lands that you don't necessarily need because you're making extra treasures. This card does a lot. I imagine it'll show up in quite a few commander decks. But I don't know how ubiquitous this card is going to be. At least in like regards to what players on Twitter.com. Like the reaction to this card on Twitter was like, calm down, act like you've been here before, you know? It's just treasure and looting. Ariet's Tempting Apple. 4 mana, legendary artifact, food. When Ariet's Tempting Apple enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature and it gains haste until end of turn. Cool. Pay 2 generic, tap, sack Ariet's Tempting Apple. You gain 3 life. Pay 2, tap, sack, target opponent loses 3 life. Cool card. Not particularly good. It is an artifact threaten on ETB, which is kind of weird. There might be some interesting applications for that. Oh, sorry, Mulder. But I think the power level's not there. And but it's very thematic. So it's a bit of a weird one. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I like that this kind of card exists. It's interesting. This is the way to do it, where you can justify it as an artifact that goes in any deck, because you know, it's for flavor. It's an apple, you know? That's it. The Iron Crag. 2 mana, legendary artifact. Tap, add a colorless mana. Great. 2 mana artifact that adds mana. ETB's on tap. Might as well be Thought Vessel. We'll take it. But wait, there's more. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may have the Iron Crag become a legendary equipment named Everflame Hero's Legacy. If you do, it gains Equip 3, and equip creature gets +3/+3 and loses all other abilities. Great. I mean, it's a 2 mana rock, comes to play on tap that just late game, if you happen to play legends in your deck, they can start killing people even harder. It's a little funny though, because usually the decks that play like 2 mana rocks aren't going to play a huge amount of legendary creatures. The ones that they do play, they probably don't want them to lose their abilities, but it's hard to complain about Thought Vessel with some, I don't know, added utility. It's kind of neat. Cool card. And commander card. Restless Vine Stalk. Oh, the rock loses the ability. Oh, my mistake. Equip creature. Oh, and there's a, I see. This gains equip creature gets +3/+3. And loses all other abilities. Gotcha. Still fine. Restless Beans. This is the blue-green creature land. Becomes a 5/5 with trample. Whenever it attacks up to one other target creature with base power, has base power 3/3 until end of turn. This is so sick. Love these beans. I mean, it's a creature dual land. You're going to play it anyways. But the fact that it is so big and just says like either my smaller thing is also a bit bigger, so no matter where you block, it's pretty bad, or your big thing is now smaller. Like now your biggest thing is now just a 3/3 and it can't block my 5/5 trampler. That's pretty good. Does this work how I think it works? I can't tell if you're being facetious or not. Is it... Lumo Wolf, are you saying, does this work how I think it works in the, like, coffee way? Or, oh my god, this is fucked. Sincerity means nothing. Okay, I see. Very good. Very well played. Well played. Good job. Yeah, I got. Hey, you know what? I got. And I'm a big enough man to admit it when it happens. Master Inferno, welcome back for the 2nd month. Hello, everyone. I rarely get to watch streams. Well, glad to have you. Good to see you. Thank you for coming back. Master Inferno, if you want to watch more stuff, but you find the timing on streams is difficult, and maybe you already know, but I've started uploading stuff to the YouTube channel again. Yeah, the YouTube channel is active again after God knows how many years. I finally found a set of playlists that YouTube doesn't hate. And just in time after I got kicked out of the YouTube partner program. Got kicked out of the YouTube partner program. Will I do a new VOD that goes over commander cards? I mean, I'll do a VOD talking about the best cards in Highlander, and some of those might be from the commander cards. We'll do a stream where I want to do a stream where we do some deck building for some of the commanders from Eldraine, because I actually like them quite a bit. And there's enough that I could just move. I don't care about the fairies or the aura ones, but some of the other ones that are in the main set are pretty enjoyable, and we can talk about some of the commander cards there. But I will have to let Wormy know in advance. And that's it. That's it. Those are all the cards. So I'm going to call it there because, again, I have been pumping out content for 10 hours today. Yikes. And I got a big day tomorrow. And you do too, if you're watching. Overall thoughts on the set. It's not as broken as the last one, and that's a good thing. I think the car, like, it's a lower powered set for sure, but that is bound to happen when you are coming, first off, when you're coming off the back of the previous Eldraine and they want to be like, you know, but also that's okay. Like, I'm fine with things being lower power. Anything would be lower power than Oko. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's hard to get better than last Eldraine, but it's a nice, like, there is a precedent set where, like, oh, last Eldraine was broken. This new Eldraine is going to be, like, really good. And you don't have to be like that, right? Like, they are slowly trying to decreep some of the power level or adjust where the power is put into cards. And if they do that while creating a very thematic, flavorful, build around set with ideally a cool limited environment, then you got something special here, you know? Got something special. So I'm cool with it. Even if it means that there's just, like, not that many good cards for Highlander or whatever. Like, first glance, how many cards here do I actually think will show up in higher tier Canadian Highlander decks? One. I'll tell you when I find another one. Two. Three. Four. Five. Is it just five? Six? 6 cards. Oh, and some of the creature lands we'll see played too. 6 cards. That is wild. Like, that is not a lot of cards, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll take a break. That's not including the commander set. I'm banned from mentioning even the word command. Yeah. Anywho, cool set. And if you want to see more of this set, yeah, I'm okay taking a break. We just got, look, I don't need another fucking Orcish Bowmasters or the One Ring. I'm good. Let me enjoy my cards, you know? Let me just look at cards and go, oh, neat. Speaking of neat, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we got the Wilds of Eldraine PPR over at twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun. We got world first sealed gameplay featuring some guests. We got Kat, Lady Lavinius, DJ, Jumbo Commander, and Wilds of Eldraine Vision Lead and Wizards of the Coast Senior Game Designer Chris Mooney. It's going to be a real big blast, so check that out. And there's new punt counter punt. There's going to be collector booster opening. There's going to be a deck tech, all that jazz. So take a look at that. How many enchantments are going to be banned in Gladiator? I don't know, Blood Moon, and like that's it. But, you know, I should probably play with it first, but, you know, Blood Moon. Blood Moon. Maybe some other stuff. I don't know. It'll be really funny if Necropotence is just, like, so bad. But, yeah, Blood Moon is going to be playing a lot of red. Spread it. Why spreading seeds? No, no memes. No memes, just dreams. I'm dropping you kids off somewhere. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Nobody is streaming. I'm just going to hit end. Don't mind if I hit end? Great. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. I love you. Bye-bye.